And a very happy Tuesday to you at 12:08 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show, broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios. Mr. Randy Wags at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, it's Tuesday, and as you know, on Tuesdays, the LA City Council likes to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Today, the honor is bestowed upon the brand new member of the LA City Council for District 6, Imelda Padilla. Are you ready?
Wait a minute. Wasn't there a series of children's books that centered around the main character, Amelia Padilla?
Yes, this is Imelda Padilla, not Amelia Padilla.
Okay.
Here's the flag salute, everyone.
Mr. President, today's Tuesday. It's time for the flag salute.
Wonderful. If everyone could please rise for the flag salute. Councilwoman Padilla, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
to the republic for which
it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice
and justice for all. Great, thank you.
Whoa. That was crash and burn.
Let's break this down a little bit, shall we?
Ready? Begin.
She starts strong.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
She's popping her peas, but she's got it right so far.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Okay, so the first line, she's good to go.
Okay, strong start.
And
To the republic
Nope.
That's where we started a loser.
and
to the republic for which
it just stands,
Oh, she got back up. She got back up. That's the best thing you can do.
one
Okay.
nation, under God, indivisible, with justice.
Oh, forgot about liberty.
and justice for all.
And she gave up.
Great, thank you.
Not for all.
That is a pretty special introduction for the brand new member of the LA City Council, but it's actually very fitting that yet another member of the LA City Council cannot recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I point you to, of course, Exhibit A.
Madam President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Mr. De Leon, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Thank you very much, Madam President. It'd be an honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Indivisible. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know what's funny is you have people that come to this country from all over the globe. If you've ever been to one of these ceremonies where people get their citizenship, you have immigrants from Asia, from Latin America, from Europe, from Africa, the Caribbean, Canada, Mexico, you name it, they come here from all over. And these people were sometimes born with educational systems that have a lot to be desired. Yet, before they're granted American citizenship, they have to study up and they have to pass a test. And they have to answer questions like, what's the Pledge of Allegiance? Who's the vice president? Who's the Speaker of the House? How many branches of government exist? What city is the seat of government? And they have to pass the test. And many of them do. It's not information that they learned when they were in school. It's information that they had to learn as adults. I would put money on anyone in that room getting their American citizenship to do better on the citizenship exam than any member of the LA City Council.
Oh, you're 100% right about that. And just remember, because this is very comforting when you tuck yourself in bed at night, this woman, Imelda Padilla, just won the LA lottery and is getting paid $225,000 a year plus benefits.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
to the republic
which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice
and justice for all. Great, thank you.
Okay, let's do a little exercise here. Do you have your handy-dandy computer in front of you, Randy?
Why, yes, I do.
Can you pull up the LA Times endorsement in that race for city council?
I will look it up.
It was a special election because Nuri Martinez had to resign her seat in the San Fernando Valley because she was one of the ones that got caught up in that scandal with Kevin De Leon, where she was caught on tape saying things she shouldn't have been saying. The LA Times always gets behind these complete buffoons, and they tell us how smart they are, how dedicated they are, how hardworking they are, how they understand how City Hall and government works backwards and forwards. They give us the seal of approval. They tell us how they're the first woman to do this, or the first Latina to do that, or the first LGBTQ to accomplish certain things. How parts of their biography, parts of their demographics are so important to the success of their career. And then you see them in practice and you say to yourself, this person is a functioning illiterate.
Here's just a little excerpt from the LA Times' endorsement back in May. Padilla is a leader who comes from the trenches, and it shows in her knowledge of the ground-level needs for the district. She speaks with authority.
Okay, this is how they lie to you. Let's read that LA Times description of this woman one more time and then hear her attempt to perform the pledge.
Padilla is a leader who comes from the trenches, and it shows in her knowledge of the ground-level needs of the district. She speaks with authority.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice
And justice for all. Great, thank you.
Okay, now let's try this. Let's look at the LA Times endorsement of Kevin De Leon when he ran for city council, and then judge that with him attempting to deliver the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'll see if I can get that. I don't subscribe to the LA Times anymore, so they might paywall me. Oh, here we go. From February 9th of 2020, Kevin De Leon gets things done. I got paywalled. Kevin, wait, let me see if I can get past the paywall. Kevin De Leon has a track record of getting big things done.
Madam President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Mr. De Leon, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Thank you very much, Madam President. It'd be an honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Indivisible. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just file this away as example 932 as to how the LA Times lies to you on a daily basis.
Ready? Begin.
800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, the big story locally and nationally, you've been seeing the tape repeated on newscast after newscast, is the smash and grab robbery that took place in the San Fernando Valley at the Topanga Mall over the weekend. And Randy, the more people look at this video footage of something like north of 20 people going in there and ransacking and looting that Nordstrom's department store, the angrier people get.
Well, this has now become the soundtrack to Southern California. People brazenly breaking into a department store on a busy, hot summer weekend in the middle of the day, stealing $300,000 worth of stuff and getting away with absolutely zero arrests.
And, of course, we voted for the people who allow this to happen and who embolden criminals and allow them to do this. But I'll tell you, the more I watch this tape, the more I think about my birthday dinner that happened during the throes of COVID at the steakhouse in Las Vegas. Do you remember me telling you about that?
Oh, the one where everyone who was there was paying with a California EDD card?
That's right. I'm a fan of steakhouses. I like steakhouse culture. And because we live in North Korea, everything was shut down here for a very long time, as we all know. So I used to get in my car and drive to Nevada all the time during the shutdown, because if you cross the state line, you could live like a normal person. So for my birthday, I went to the Fleming's on the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you, like me, are a fan of steakhouses, you know that steakhouses attract a certain clientele. Lots of business people, older people, people who are red meat eaters who like steaks and scotch and shrimp cocktail and those sorts of things. It's very rare that you see a bunch of teenagers or you see a bunch of people in their 20s. Typically, they don't want to spend a lot of money on a meal, and they also don't want a meal that's going to take 2 hours for them to consume. They want to eat fast and then be off to the nightclub or wherever it is they're going to go. Well, when I was there, I showed up and I looked around, and I was the oldest person in the room by 20 years. I'm 43 years old. I thought to myself, this is odd. And then I go and I sit down at the table, and the waiter walks up to take the order. And when the waiter walks up, the waiter takes a deep breath, releases the breath, shuts his eyes, and meditates for a second before he even says hello. And I said, is everything okay? And he goes, it's horrible. And I said, what's horrible? He said, look around the room. I looked around the room. It was exactly as I just described. He said, everyone here is demanding. Everyone here is not tipping. And everyone here is paying with a California EDD card. And when I card them when they order alcohol, none of them have California driver's licenses. Meaning, people from out of state understand that we're a bunch of buffoons and we're willing to give money to any criminal that asks for it. So they all come to California for crime tourism. And because we continue to do it, we attracted more of them. And what do criminals like to do when they have a little coin in their pocket? Of course, they go to Las Vegas. They spend it on steaks. They spend it on strippers. They spend it on gambling. They spend it in the showrooms. They live like ballers.
But what's the thing they don't spend?
Tip money.
They won't tip the waitstaff.
That's right. But these were organized crime rings who just saw a mark, which was the state of California, and they came to the state of California and they robbed us blind to the tune of $30 billion. That's billion with a B. The same thing, I believe, is happening right now with these organized crime rings and with the homeless. You have people who assess where the nation is on subjects like crime or homelessness, and they say to themselves, well, all the suckers live in California. All the suckers are writing the laws in California. The fools who are the DAs who are responsible for enforcing the laws don't do it. If you want to be a criminal, why not go to California? You can do whatever you want. You can get away with it. And if anything unfortunate were to happen to you, you're the victim, and the person you're stealing from, they're the ones that are going to get prosecuted. They're the ones that are going to go to jail. If you're a criminal in Ohio, why wouldn't you come here? If you're a bum in West Virginia, why wouldn't you come here? Word gets out fast, and even though they might be living on the street, they all have iPhones, and they all understand that the Golden Gate Bridge is for them.
It's not even just this country anymore. We have so many organized crime rings that come up here from Chile and start stealing everything.
That's right. And until we get a little bit smarter and we stop electing people to office who allow this to happen, we're going to continue to be the marks of the world. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you want to go back and listen to our interview with presidential candidate Larry Elder yesterday, that is easy to do.
That's right. Just go to KABC.com, click on podcasts, go to the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You can search for The John Phillips Show on YouTube, subscribe to the playlist there. There are so many different ways to listen. It is so simple. Anybody could figure out how to download a podcast. Even Barbara Ferrer, you know how to download the podcast, right?
I have no idea.
Okay, she doesn't know, but you will. It's easy. Do it.
Now, Randy, we have some breaking L.A. Dodgers news.
That's right, and this is so big, we need the sounder.
Now, breaking on AM 790 KABC.
Johnny, we got an email from listener Gil, and Gil emailed us some information about the Dodger game he will be attending this Sunday as the Dodgers take on the Marlins. It's a 1 o'clock game, and apparently it is a very special day at Dodger Stadium on Sunday. It is going to be Los Angeles County Day at Dodger Stadium. And at 12:40, scheduled to take the ceremonial first pitch, will be Dr. Barbara Ferrer.
The L.A. County Health Department Director.
Yeah.
Except the L.A. Dodgers ticket stub that Gil sent us says Dr. Barbara Ferrer's first pitch, scheduled to take place at 12:40.
Was doctor in quotes?
No. Dr. Barbara Ferrer.
Okay, I have a couple of initial thoughts on this. First of all, she doesn't look healthy enough to get the ball from the pitcher's mound to home plate.
It's going to be worse than the time McIntyre did it.
What do you think she gets it? Halfway there?
I don't know if she could lift the ball.
Is she going to do it overhand or underhand?
How much sunscreen is she going to have to apply? She's not used to going out in the sun.
You think she's going to hit someone in the crotch who's not even standing anywhere near home plate?
It's definitely possible.
Didn't Gary Delabate do that?
I believe so.
Out of all the people in L.A. County to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at a Dodger game, they come up with the fake doctor?
No, thank you.
I don't know who scheduled this, but now that I know it, I'm sure glad that it's happening because we have a lot of time to prepare for this, don't we, Johnny?
Oh, we've got plenty of time to prepare for this. Who did she beat out?
Maybe Sheila was supposed to do it.
Sort of, snowflake weepies.
Could be Mark Ridley Thomas, but he has bigger fish to fry.
Barbara Ferrer will be throwing the first pitch at Dodger Stadium at 12:40 this Sunday, August 20th. If you are going to that game, or if you have friends or family that are going to that game, Johnny, what do we want them to say to the fake doctor?
Oh, I think they need to call her a fake doctor.
If we could get video of the ceremonial first pitch at Dodger Stadium this Sunday with Barbara Ferrer on the mound, and we could hear the audience booing and calling her a fake doctor, that might just make our year.
That would be the best sound I think we have on the board.
I would really like to have that. That would make drop of the year, beating out some of our absolute favorites.
Ooh, this doesn't look too good.
So if you're going to Dodger Stadium this Sunday, if you're going to go see the Dodgers take on the Marlins, or you know anyone that is, make sure they get there early. The first pitch is at 12:40, and you got to give Barbara Ferrer a piece of your mind.
You know, Willie Brown, who's one of the smartest political thinkers we have in the state of California, always told his caucus when he was in the state legislature and always told politicians at San Francisco City Hall, never throw out a first pitch to a baseball game. Never, ever, ever do it. Resist the impulse. They may offer it to you. It may seem flattering. You may be a fan of baseball, and want to take them up on the opportunity. Never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, never say yes. Until he finally broke his own rule at one point when he was mayor of San Francisco, and the Giants kept trying to get him to throw out the first pitch. And Willie Brown finally agreed to do it under one condition. He had to have two other Willies out there with him on the mound, Willie Mays and Willie McCovey, because he said if it was the three Willies out there on the mound in San Francisco, no one in San Francisco is going to boo Willie Mays or Willie McCovey at all. And he would get a huge round of applause, and he could take credit for it. And he certainly wouldn't have any tape that exists of him being booed out of the stadium. But he would never go out there and throw out the first pitch on his own. Barbara Ferrer is going to be on the mound by herself this Sunday. If she gets booed, there will be absolutely zero ambiguity as to who the crowd is booing. Here's another question, Randy. Is she going to wear a mask when she goes out there to throw out the first pitch?
No, thank you.
She wore a mask during the deposition.
Yes, she did wear a mask during the deposition, but as we've seen at Dodger Stadium and at SoFi Stadium at the Bad Bunny concert, when Barbara Ferrer is out in public, she doesn't usually wear the mask. Only when she's inside a room with one person, like at her press conferences of past.
We will certainly have more on this throughout the week. All right, let's get some reaction, Randy, to the horrific smash and grab that we saw take place in Canoga Park over the weekend.
That's right, not Woodland Hills. Topanga Plaza is only Woodland Hills when it's a good story. When it's a bad story, it's in Canoga freaking Park. Here's Channel 7.
Several recent flash mob robberies have local high-end stores on alert. Dozens of masked suspects have run out of stores in Century City, Canoga Park, and Glendale with hundreds of thousands of dollars in stolen merchandise. Eyewitness News reporter Christian Cordero spoke with leaders and law enforcement.
Notice how they never try this in Beverly Hills?
No, because that's an independent municipality, and they will crack your skull.
Eyewitness News reporter Christian Cordero spoke with leaders in law enforcement and the business community on how to stop the crime.
At a time when tourism and foot traffic promise a financial boost for business owners today, the cost of the dog days looks like this. The LAPD says roughly 30 people stole more than $300,000 worth of merchandise from the Westfield Topanga shopping center on Saturday. Dressed in disguises and moving quickly, they all escaped.
They originally estimated it was only 80 to 100,000, but then I think Nordstrom's realized if they stole it, they don't get the sale price.
Well, were they really in disguises? Because I saw some pictures from KTLA where you could see their faces plain as day.
They're still not going to get caught.
No.
I mean, it would be really simple. Hold a press conference like you used to put the drugs on the table to show that you're doing something. Put these jackasses on a table, and we never see it.
As thieves often do. LAPD data shows last year only about a quarter of robberies led to an arrest.
Every single one of these news stories, whether they know it or not, is an advertisement to the criminal element that keep doing this. You are very unlikely to get caught. And if you actually do get caught, you're unlikely to get prosecuted. And if you actually do get prosecuted, plead guilty, you'll be out the next day because you're a nonviolent criminal.
I'm telling you, I know people personally who had catalytic converters stolen on their property. They have video surveillance. They have videos of the people stealing the catalytic converters. For facial recognition software, you could figure out who did it lickety-split. And when they call the cops to make a report and offer the video footage to the police to help them with their investigation, the cops say, thanks, but no thanks, we don't need it.
LAPD data shows last year only about a quarter of robberies led to an arrest.
We've got to get our elected officials to change some laws.
Oh, yeah, Caruso's doing the rounds now because the Americana got hit last week.
Well, and he should be calling Karen Bass out for saying that these people need accountability, because accountability is one of these psychobabble words that means nothing.
He is criticizing in general, but he does not have the killer instinct as we saw in the mayoral campaign.
We've got to get our elected officials to change some laws, enforce the laws we have, and hold people accountable, especially these criminals that are doing it over and over and over again.
One of businessmen.
Even he's doing it. What is the deal? I'm telling you, there's got to be some consultant, some Democratic political consultant out there who tested the word and said, all right, here's what you all have to do. Go out there and say that you won't put up with crime and you want to hold the criminals accountable. But accountability doesn't mean jail time. Accountability doesn't mean a criminal record. Accountability doesn't mean you have to disclose that you're a felon when you try to get a job in the future. Accountability means group therapy.
Well, and I'll tell you this, based on the oldest drop that I have with that word.
I mean, it's not just about money. It's about damn accountability.
I say it's an A. Smith thing, which tells you exactly why Caruso is saying accountability.
100%.
You know how much money Caruso gave A. Smith?
He's putting his grandkids through school.
One of businessman Rick Caruso's properties, the Americana in Glendale, was hit by a similar flash mob-style theft last week. The week before that, another group ran out of the Westfield Century City's Gucci store with arms full of bags, even luggage, in tow.
I cringe when I see these national stories about California because that's not what we're about. These aren't the values.
Isn't it?
Yeah, this is exactly what we're about because we're dumb enough to put up with it.
These aren't the values of the people who live in California.
Rachel Michelin is the president of the California Retailers Association, which advocates in the legislature for big and small businesses alike.
All we want to do as retailers is safely be able to operate our stores.
Okay, listen, lady. The state legislature, as it's currently made up, is doing everything they can to make sure that your membership leaves the state and closes their business. If you want things to change, you can try to lobby their horrific bills into making them slightly less horrific, or you can get out your checkbook and you can start financing the campaigns of the people who want to put these criminals in prison. Unless and until you get serious writing checks for people who see the world differently than the people who are currently in charge, you're just going to deal with more misery. You have part of the blame at your desk.
An ABC7 analysis of retail robberies, burglaries, and thefts reported by the LAPD shows these types of crimes over the last 12 months are the highest they've been since at least 2010. LA County Sheriff Robert Luna is exploring things like crime centers to help the response time.
Okay, get ready for some genius commentary from the brand new sheriff.
This guy, man. This was the one office we had. The one countywide office we had where we had someone with his head screwed on straight in Alex Villanueva. And then we replaced him with this clown.
LA County Sheriff Robert Luna is exploring things like crime centers to help the response time.
Either government cameras, private cameras that are giving an indication of activity that may be occurring.
You know, this crap's filmed on camera constantly, and there are cameras everywhere all over the place, including everyone's pocket, right, Luna?
It's not as if every aspect of these smash and grabs wasn't memorialized on videotape, but we need more videotape. We need cinematographers. We're Scorsese.
If you know the crap gets uploaded to TikTok and WorldStar, maybe you should be monitoring TikTok and WorldStar, and then you'll know where to go.
We probably saw the video before he did.
And the Topanga station for the LAPD is like right around the block.
Either government cameras, private cameras, that are giving an indication of activity that may be occurring, and then give us the ability to respond even faster to some of these.
But leaders are divided over what to do when thieves are caught. Efforts to amend California's shoplifting and petty theft laws have failed. LA County has reinstated zero bail for nonviolent, low-level offenses.
We got nobody to blame but ourselves.
100%. The county level, failure. State level, failure. City level, failure.
Well, and even when the voters rejected the idea of zero bail, a judge goes ahead and says, no, we're doing it anyway. And who appointed the judges?
The governor.
Today, District Attorney George Gascon said these crimes go beyond that.
We view them as organized crime, and we will use every tool available under the law when there is an arrest made to make sure that these individuals are held accountable.
In the last 2 years since this whole thing started with the Nordstroms in San Francisco, Have you seen George Gascon prosecute one person for this?
No. And you realize what he said there. Parse his words. Every tool available under the law. Well, if there's no bail and they're arrested, that means he's going to turn around and let them out immediately.
We view them as organized crime, and we will use every tool available under the law when there is an arrest made.
Okay. So what he is doing is he's telling you he's going to do absolutely nothing about it, but that's the law, and that's the definition of quote-unquote accountability.
What's the diversion program for a smash and grabber? Since they already know how to use a hammer, they'd put you in a construction program?
Yeah, since you break a lot of glass, then you can only drink Coke out of a can.
To make sure that these individuals are held accountable.
Gascon says people who buy...
There's the word again.
It had to come from A. Smith. Had to.
To make sure that these individuals are held accountable.
Gascon says people who buy stolen goods are part of the problem for perpetuating demand, and it is illegal technically to knowingly buy something that is stolen, but that knowingly part of it does add complications when it comes to enforcement.
Yeah, people don't know that the thing that's 10 cents cheaper on Amazon is stolen.
No. And if you're going after those people, you're missing the point. How about going after the people that smash the window and go into the Nordstroms and take everything on camera?
Well, to that point, Johnny, I want to play you because this is all I could find. And there was that press conference with Luna and Gascon yesterday where everyone wanted to ask about the smash and grabs, and Gascon got testy with the reporters. Nobody would put out the video. Every single news organization had the same canned response, but I was able to cut it together from a couple places. So this is what we have. And listen to Gascon's change in tone when he goes from talking about the smashers and the grabbers to the people on eBay.
We view them as organized crime, and we will use every tool available under the law when there is an arrest made. There are people in our community that are buying the stolen goods, and they need to be held accountable as well.
Notice how mad he got?
Yes. What he's going after, again, are people who have no clue they're participating in a crime. If you go on eBay to buy, let's say, I don't know, a clothing item that was stolen, you're buying scarves, and someone is selling a scarf on eBay or one of those websites where you can purchase these sorts of things, Etsy, and they list the scarf, and it's a good price, but not outside the realm of what you would pay in a retail environment. Are you going to do the research of the individual selling the scarf to try to see if they look shady enough to have stolen the scarf at one of these malls? Or are you just going to purchase the scarf? You have no idea. He's acting like it's back in the old days when people would steal car stereos and then sell them out of the trunk of their car. When you're buying a car stereo out of the trunk of someone's car, you should have a pretty good idea that that's stolen. If you run a chop shop and someone comes to you and they're trying to sell you a catalytic converter that was clearly stolen from someone's car, it's easy to tell what you're dealing with. But if you buy a scarf on the internet, you have absolutely no idea you're buying stolen merchandise. But those people are middle class. Those people are paying for the items that they're buying. So in George Gascon's mind, the middle class is the enemy.
Again, listen how he targets the smashers and grabbers.
We view them as organized crime, and we will use every tool available under the law when there is an arrest made.
And listen to how he treats the people who buy this stuff, knowingly or unknowingly.
There are people in our community that are buying the stolen goods, and they need to be held accountable as well.
It's the angriest I've ever heard him.
Now, Randy, when you play these clips from the computer, it shows you how loud the person is when they're saying whatever it is they're saying. And then when there's a pause in between words or in between sentences, it goes down to 0. It's like at the hospital when you're monitoring someone's heart rate. What does it look like on the screen when he's talking about the people doing the smash and grabs versus the people who are buying the stolen merchandise?
The waveforms are visibly bolder because he is speaking with so much more fury and passion about the people shopping on Amazon.
There are people in our community that are buying the stolen goods, and they need to be held accountable as well.
The waveforms are a little thinner and they're lower when he's talking about the actual criminals.
When there is an arrest made,